Good evening. We only have one viewer. Let's let them trickle in. Give us
Okay.
another 60
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
Give us 6 seconds.
Are you saying that our stream has
And
a
that viewer
prostate
is
problem?
me. And that viewer is me. So let's wait.
Are you saying our stream has a prostate problem? That was a
I,
multi-layered joke there. You guys
I,
better laugh for that.
ah, ah, ah.
Anyway,
More
what's
people
happening,
trickle in.
everybody out there in Worlds Collide Land? My name is TheSchwantz27. I am joined in the commentary booth by Drinks Glue tonight, and we are doing a 2v2 multi-world archipelago co-op race. So, Glue, why don't you tell us what the heck that means?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Drinks Glue. As once mentioned, what is a 2v2 race? Well, a 2v2 race is two people versus two people. What is multi-world? Multi-world is Archipelago, which is also multi-world. What do I mean by that? We will have runners on the left side of your screen will be playing in two different seeds, but they are the same team. And they will be playing the two runners on the right side of the screen, which are also playing different seeds, but are on the same team. So the two runners up top will be in World A. The two runners on the bottom will be in World B. And Worlds A and Worlds B are intertwined in that the runner in Worlds A can send items to runner in World B and vice versa. Not just items, but we can also find progression in each other's world. In short, our runners will need to tag team their Worlds Collide seed to get their Kefka Towers requirement and move on and finish as quickly as possible.
Yeah, so this is Infoshare. Our runners will be chatting with one another. I'm hoping that it doesn't come through on the streams. I think I've instructed them to do the right thing, but we never know. One interesting thing about the Archipelago implementation for Worlds Collide is that you will see the text say Archipelago item received when you get a reward for another player. So that's why we have those little boxes in the center of the screen there to let you know, oh, hey, by the way, this is what the actual reward was, right? So that's why those boxes are there. There's a few interesting wrinkles in terms of what the difference is between a normal Worlds Collide seed and what a multi-world seed is. Also want to give a shout out to Knuckly Kong, who's doing the tracking for us tonight. Tracking 4 runners on its own is very difficult. Tracking 4 runners and 2 of them are playing a different game from one another is even worse. So thank you, Knuckly, for doing some of the tracking here.
I will do my best.
And it looks like we've got a connection loss, so that's great. I'm going to go deal with that. In the meantime, Drinks Glue, why don't you give us some of the discrepancies that I was alluding to earlier?
Of course, I will do nothing more. So one of the few differences you will notice in Archipelago is that not only we kind of throw out some of the regular logic from Ultros League, in that typically you can find a character, or excuse me, only an Esper or an item at the tri-stock spot. In this particular flag set, it will only be an Esper or an item, but in traditional multi-world, you can find a character just about anywhere. You can find a character at the Opera House. You can find the character at the Auction House. If you invoke Treasure Sanity, you can find a character in a treasure chest tucked away somewhere, just like the Chancellors from Chrono Trigger in 1000 AD. He's locked away in the front. He's locked away in a chest.
Yep.
You gotta find him and send him on his way. So characters are going to be in places we don't traditionally find them. Also, not only will we be sending characters back and forth to each other, we can send high-tier items. The high-tier item pool is rather robust in Archipelago, and we can also send Espers back and forth. Our Espers will be in Players A World, and Players B Espers can be in Players A World. So we're not just sending high-tier items back and forth, not just characters, but Espers as well. The requirements are the same as a traditional Ultros League flag set. We need to find 6 characters, 9 Espers. But again, as we mentioned, those characters can be just about anywhere except where we want them to be. Important note I want to point out is that on the top 2 runners of your screen, we do have a double gal hash. So that is very fortuitous.
Oh, double fancy gal hash, not just a double gal hash.
Yes, so that is a good sign, because sometimes those characters can be in some spots where they're really convenient. But with that hash, I don't think that hash would do that to us. I think that's the sign of a good omen.
All right, and we already know what our characters are. Wow, that is a Throw Setzer, a Rage Sabin with Realm, and I didn't quite see what the bottom runners are working with here. We do have Locke, Setzer, and Terra. Maybe Pasta Morpheus is going to give us that. Steel, Rage, and Lore. So
Very nice.
we do have Quasar online for one of Locke's lures, so it looks like Kalar McBran for Team Right Twix is heading into the world of Ruin Narsh, while the rest of the runners are heading into the world of Balance Narsh, except for Questifer Workin finding their own experience egg there in Kolingen. So with these characters, Glue, there are a lot of free checks, but free checks in multi-world, especially with Ultros League settings needing 6 characters and 9 espers in order to unlock Final Kefka, means that we have to be careful of how much stuff we potentially are sending to our teammate.
That is very true, because with all of these free checks, let's take Fitz for example. Let's say in Fitz's world, he has access to 3 free checks, and he takes those 3 free checks, and they're all 3 espers in his own world. And then Mr. Kalarg at the bottom takes his 3 free checks and sends them all on over to Fitz's way. Fitz could easily be at 6 pieces of progression and still level 3. And kind of be in a world of trouble there, because scaling can get out of hand fast on you, especially when you're at a lower level.
All right, so 11 Battle Curse Shield for our bottom runners. So both Possum Morpheus and Kalar McBran will be getting that Curse Shield. 11 is actually a pretty decent number, especially when we start with Locke. So I would be thinking about uncursing that shield right away. What do you think, Glue?
Most definitely, because Archipelago seeds tend to run a little bit longer. Because when let's say let's take on the other side of on the field here. Let's say Mr. Workin goes on about his business. He has his 6th character. He has his 9th Esper. Traditionally in Ultros League, what you would do is you would hit on the Kefka's Tower and begin the process of beating the game. But it doesn't do you much good, because our runners' times are cumulative. So one, if he finishes with a faster time, that's great for him, but it doesn't do very well for the team, because Possum has to finish as well. And there could easily be a scenario where Workin gets his requirements, whereas Possum still needs a large number of pieces of progression to progress to the final battle. So Workin would be better off to continue on about his business in the open world and just get more progression for his buddy Possum.
Yeah, there could be a case where you could actually finish Final Kefka, but then have to go back into your game because you have progression for your other player. Meanwhile, interesting choice for our bottom runners. It was either an item for their teammate or a Ragnarok sword. And with both Terra and Locke on your team, you know that at least 2 of your characters can equip that, and both of them decided to take the Ragnarok sword. That is an interesting conundrum. I might have just rolled the dice with the AP item just to see what it was, but I could totally understand why you'd want one of the best weapons in the game.
Keep in mind with the Terror start as well, so we're not exactly walling ourselves off from whatever that item could be for the near to immediate future. We will get that behind Welk Gate rather quickly, most likely.
Yeah, that's an excellent point that you bring up there. A couple of ribbons down in the Imperial base here, so that goes even better with our Curse Shield, so we're going to start doing that right away. We'll see if either one of these runners decides to pull on that chain for the Sealed Gate Ninjas. Meanwhile, Questifer Workin is showing us a 52k GP item there at Zen Thief in the World of Balance, so we'll see if it's any cheaper in the World of Ruin. Now, it is an item. It's not his own Esper, but that might be a character Esper or item for his teammate, because as I mentioned earlier, in Archipelago terms, the stuff for your other teams or your other players' progression are called Archipelago items. They're basically just rename cards with a different name on them. So they technically count as items. So that's why some of these flavor texts that pop up to kind of give you a hint as to what the reward might be is a little bit iffy in AP. It's just one of those quirks to keep in mind.
Yes, indeed. And even though when we send the Archipelago item on its way to our other runner, we do house that rename card in our inventory, and we can trade that in the Coliseum. So a Coliseum play, we'll come across quite a bit of items as we loot more, as we get steps in our way. So a Coliseum play may be in play.
Oh, Economizer pulling out of it there. And with that
Nice.
Quasar with lore for Locke, I expect that's what we're going to be doing a lot of. Sniper in the World of Balance South Figure, a weapon shop for our top runners. And we're buying Elemental Skeins for Setzer to throw at other things. So we already have an idea as to what's happening there. Meanwhile, on the reward front, we have a Esper for Questifer Workin from Possum Morpheus. So that is the first piece of progression there for Questifer Workin. And I don't know if he'll be happy about that or not. Usually you are when you get things for free. But we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, that is Shiva going Workin's way via Possum Morpheus. With these are actually some pretty powerful starts across both runners' world. Workin was showing us a little bit of the rages on his saving there. We did have access to Fire 3. And I think an arrow on another one. So those are two pretty much S tier rages right off the bat. So just a powerful stall around with the throw, with the rages, and then with the Ragnarok now.
Christopher Workin is wishing we had turned YNPC remove on with those two kids staying in his way there from playing. So Shiva going over to 1 free fits as well, and we'll see where the rest of our runners decide to go. At least from the bottom perspective, things like Phoenix Cave become a lot more enticing when there are up to 2 rewards in there, because remember, the dragons are considered checks in Worlds Collide, and in Archipelago, they're also considered checks, which can drop a reward either for yourself or for your teammate. That was a cheap Pearl Lance for the bottom to Zen Thief, and it was their own Pearl Lance, so to be determined if that'll be helpful or not for our bottom runners.
Yeah, with a lot of those little intricacies and little differences in a traditional flag set, you'll see a lot more off-beaten path plays, because it doesn't really matter where you get your checks at. The quicker you can get them, the better. So that's, as Swanch mentioned, Phoenix King becomes a little more enticing because you get a 2-for-1 special in there. And that kind of applies to Ancient Castle with the dragon down there. Not only is it just a dragon and a high tier item, that dragon can be progression, and then Fanatic's Tower as well.
And speaking of Fanatic's Tower, Christopher Workin just got Strago from Possum Morpheus at his colon Jinin, so he has already got 2 extra pieces of progression on his side, so hopefully that this seed continues to be not so lopsided for these 2 runners here. One interesting thing to note, in this particular setting, so in my little host setting that I did, I have altered the set of rewards to not have a character in Kefka's Tower and to not have characters behind to Zen Thief or any of the auction house slots. But if you don't have those sort of restrictions in your YAML file, as they're called, you could put anything anywhere, and Kefka's Tower is considered a Sphere 1 check because we're starting off with 3 characters. So that's just another interesting quirk of Archipelago in that way as well.
Now, when you say Spear 1, are you talking about like the Final Fantasy X Spear Grid, how you get stats and whatnot? What do you mean by that, Schwantz?
What I mean is that they're placed when doing the logic of the seed, as we see Strago has Magitech as his command. When the program generates the logic through the seed, it considers the spots in Kefka's Tower, Atma Weapon, and the 2 dragons as things that you could access right away. So it may mean that early progression might be locked inside of Kefka's Tower if you don't obviously exclude it with the specific settings that I talked about earlier.
Does it include the auction house as Spear 1 as well?
That is correct. Anything that's not character gated. So auction house is not, Opera House Dragon is not, Tritalk is not, right? So these are just all the other weird things that can come up here.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, we basically have 4 runners, and no 2 of them across the various worlds are at the same spot. We got Workin taking some fights. We got Possum Morpheus doing the same thing in the South Figaro Cave. He's found something he likes, and it's that Black Dragon, which he can just Revivify and get his free kill. We see Kalar still looting through South Figaro, and we're seeing Fitz. He's going to the auction house now. Maybe he's trying to get a little more cultured over there in Jador. What's going on there?
Yeah, I think he's just looking for something potentially off the beaten path here. We do have Realm, so this might be a... Ooh, Valiant Knives.
Ooh, yeah, Valiant Knife, very nice. And a lot of you could wear those Valiant Knives, so that is interesting.
Yeah, so this might be an Owser's Mansion play here for Fitz. This is the World of Ruin, correct?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so with Realm, not only can you get, access to Owser's Mansion, but you also have those 2 reward slots in the auction house that you can get. So this is a 3 checks in one area type of play here. The problem is you're going to need some cash money to go to the auction house, and he sold the Genji glove there. Wow.
Oh no, yeah, especially I thought the Minerva would go more than anything, especially with the Valiant Knives. You know, only thing holding you back is your wallet there.
Well,
that's a very interesting play.
Yeah, so we'll see if that comes back to bite him or not. And yeah, there goes the Minerva as well. We're selling a lot of different things. As I mentioned, if we had more money, then we could also get some stuff out of the auction house. And Morpheus does not like this Delta Bug fight here and is going to nope out of that. I wonder if they got the... Oh, they did get the economizer. Interesting. I wonder why they're not using it. Now they are.
He didn't have it on. I was wondering why did he just Quasar the Delta Bugs, but I guess that would explain it.
Yep.
Oh, now he'll get a second chance.
You sometimes get a second chance to make a first impression here. Alright, so now that Morpheus is actually doing some grind fights, this is in the South Figaro Cave, right? So I'm assuming that he'll back out at some point, do a save, and do this check. Kalar is going to go ahead and send their Strago to 1 free Fitz there. So that is going to be another character for Fitz. Unfortunately, he's already started the Owzer's Mansion trek. So, Glue, do you go back out to the overworld, go back in the airship, put the old man in your party, or do you just say, well, I'm just going to power through this here instead?
Looks like he's thinking about it because he's pausing there. Oh, no, he's going through with it. I think I would... So, an interesting thing about that Strago coming to him now, I would go get that Strago if I realized this, if I was Fitz. That Strago is level 3, so if he doesn't back out, you know, Fitz is going to be like level 12, 13, 14, 15, something like that, and that Strago is going to still be on level 3. Or if he goes and gets him now, he'll be on par, but that Strago is going to be a liability now for Fitz. So I would have gotten back out there and gotten him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm less inclined to do that, only because, yes, he will be at very low levels, but that first fight that he takes will slingshot him way high in levels. He obviously won't be the same level as the other 3 characters, but he'll be pretty close even after 1 or 2 fights. And look at what Christopher Walken has found on his screen with a rage character. You love to see it happen there.
You love to see it, and you love to see it twice on Sundays.
Yeah, so now we know what Sabin is going to be doing for the rest of the seed for him. And at Owzer's Mansion, we've got a merchant NPC. So this is either an item for Fitz or something for Kalar.
And just Tunnel Armor is the fight. This will go down after a Water Edge or a Bolt Edge or 2. Dealer's choice because he's weak to both.
Yeah, unfortunately, Fitz, I don't think, has gotten the Stray Cat there. But he does have the Valiant Knives, and having those early is really good because that allows you to basically turn your brain off and say, all right, Sabin's good for the rest of the seed. I know exactly what he's going to be doing. He's just going to be doing this. Now, with Sabin and Setzer, Glue, are we going to try and rush Monster in a Boxes to find that sweet, delicious offering to go along with that Valiant Knife?
100% if we're Fitz, because offering VK is the dream. I wonder how many Fitz Possum is going to take here, because he's doing quite a bit. He's already level 12, and he's, you know, his monsters are still level 3, you know, times 2 or whatnot. But he's on the lower end of the aggression. Maybe he doesn't realize that there's certain tiles that you have to step on for the Tunnel Armor fight.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have to go in from the south entrance. You can't fight the Tunnel Armor fight from the north entrance.
Well, you can, but you just have to backtrack to the point where and step on 3 tiles that you would essentially might as well go through. But so maybe this is his first time trying to do this, or he just really, really wants to uncurse that shield. We'll find out here shortly.
All right, so one of the other oddities of Archipelago, One Free Fitz found a realm in Owzer's Mansion, but it was for Kalar McBrand, and that realm has Runic, so not a very useful command. However, we'll see if they could eventually find some Espers to make that realm a useful character. Christopher Walken, meanwhile, heading into Imperial Camp to do some more grind fights here. And this one is a bit of an oof with just the fight command, because these monsters have very high evade.
Well, he does have throw, and he's finally busting it out here. Good on him. My hope here for Walken is that he found some snipers at one point in time. Snipers are very, very powerful with the Stray Cat Rage. You can get the double multiplayer by the multiple procs. But I don't think Morgan is aware of that. That's a shame because that would have been fantastic at the showcase. But we can still hope he comes across something else that he can showcase with his Cat Rage.
Well, he's going to showcase a dead Sabin for the rest of this check. Oh, wow. Life 2.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Getting bailed out there.
That is something.
One Free Fits, meanwhile, is heading to the Opera House. So this is an interesting play here. Remember we talked about, the logic of how Archipelago places things. This is considered an early check in Archipelago because you can go right to this boss whenever you'd like. And Fitz is going to get a lot of XP, a lot of MP, and he will get the vanilla item off of the Red Dragon, which is a decent sword, or I think it's a samurai sword for
that's a Strado
for Cyan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he'll get something either for himself or for his teammate, but with those water edges, that Red Dragon is no problem.
Good news for Possum, he uncursed the shield. The bad news is he's level 15, so he kind of leveled up to an awkward number. Let's see if he realizes it and maybe takes the save here.
It is Celeste for One Free Fits. Celeste for Kalar at One Free Fits' Dirt Dragon. So that is a fifth member of Kalar's crew. Do you go and check to see what's on Celeste, or do you just keep going here?
Hopefully Kalar realizes that Celeste is sitting there and waiting on the airship, because yes, indeed, because just because Celeste can equip all the default vanilla swords or the great vanilla swords, and that would what I would be inclined to kind of lean towards, because one of the things with Archipelago and multi-world is you tend to end up very powerful very fast. So just the time save, maybe reinvesting in her at level 3 will pay off later on when you end up level 50, just because you tend to have to do more checks because there's more spots where checks and progression can live.
Alright, so the top runners to Zen Thief is way cheaper in the World of Ruin. Fitz does not have enough money for it yet. Here, heading into the Collapsing House, but with those Valiant Knives in tow, or at least knowledge of it, this is what we talked about earlier, Glue. Let's go find
100%.
ourselves an offering.
Yep. I fully expect him to check both, and check them twice.
Always nice getting a flame shield right before you go and fight something, so we'll see
Very nice.
if Fitz puts that on to one of his characters. There we are. And
that's a Blitz Celeste. That's a pretty good Celeste.
Yeah, so I would definitely be putting Celeste in that party. It just depends on who now comes out of it, right? Because we have Throw from Setzer, so he's not going anywhere. And it looks like Celeste is in for Realm.
Very interesting.
Meanwhile, Posomorpheus gives Christopher Warken yet another shiny stone with Palador from the Dirt Dragon. So it's time for Christopher Warken to start returning the favor here a little bit.
That's an interesting choice there, to bump out the Realm and keep that Setzer. That's a curious one.
Setzer has Throw, I think, doesn't he?
I thought Setzer had Throw on the top screen.
Oh no, we've gone cross-eyed. This is help. We need an adult.
Knuckly, save us, please.
Setzer on the bottom has Rage.
Okay.
I probably would have still kept the Realm, but that's why Kalar's in the driver's seat.
Yep. Maybe he found a really good Rage. Like I said, we have I think
Rages galore.
I think I accidentally fell on my tracker here. Hold on. There we go. 2 Magicites for Mr. Workin. Well, now it's going to be 3 because he's going to get Carbuncle from this check here. Yeah, so this is what we were talking about when you might get overloaded with progression, and that is definitely what is happening to Mr. Workin here.
And that is definitely not what's happening to Possum, because Possum is like level 40 by now from all those free checks. I mean, all those grind fights he did, and he still is just at 3 characters and 0 espers.
All right, so a couple more developments here. Sabin was at Collapsing House for Kalar, so Kalar now has 6 characters already. Kalar did return the favor by sending Phantom over to one free Fitz, and Fitz bought a Valiant Knife for cheaper, actually, at Zenthief. So he now has a second Valiant Knife in tow. Maybe he's regretting throwing away the Genji Glove.
Oh, most definitely. I think that Genji Glove with all the good stuff you're gonna end up with is something you hold on to, even if you don't use it for a while.
But and the rich get richer as Ragnarok the Esper goes over to Christopher Workin from the Ice Dragon.
That is a lot of progression for Workin. And again, still Possum still at 3-0. Let's see if this Tritalk flips it on him, turns it around, gives Possum the goods for a change. And in the skies, we have Inferno. Forfeits, be it Search the Skies. But nothing we won't make short work of with those bolt edges.
Oh, we've already got an Ultima online for Possum Morpheus on the bottom.
I would dare say that for the next 30 minutes, Possum's going to one-shot everything with his Ultima because his scaling is still what it is, and
yeah, and the fact that he took on 2 dragons too, which do give a lot. And then Mog heading over to Christopher Workin as well.
So Workin may get requirements before Possum ever finds an Esper.
Yeah, because Christopher Workin, looking at his tracker, he's done 2 checks. So let's change his thing there. Possum Morpheus has done 7 checks. They'll make him 7. How are we doing with Fitz? Fitz is up to 5. Although this will be 6 in just a second here. And Kalar is also at 5. So yeah, this is the reason why Christopher Workin has taken a while. He's got less checks is because his bosses are way beefier.
It takes him a minute or two to take down a level 40 Inferno and whatnot.
Oh, and Kalar gets destroyed by a marsupial there.
Ooh, rough.
This is not a fun fight. Hey,
well,
and Christopher Workin says, by the way, you want something, Possum Morpheus? Here's a Genji shield. Oh, man.
Oh, no, he sent Cyan. Oh, no, he sent Cyan up.
Okay, so the other choice that wasn't the Ragnarok was Cyan for the top player. So Christopher Workin now also has 6 characters.
So he just needs 5 more Espers, and Possum needs everything still.
Kalar in a bit of trouble here with this SR Behemoth fight.
We do know by virtue that Kalar has found 3 characters that they do exist. Workin just hasn't gone to the right spots yet.
No. And that's part of the problem with AP is that sometimes it's just difficult to know exactly what you need to do and where you need to go. But being in Narsh is going to be good because he's, close to a lot of different checks here.
It would be, I would advise Workin here if he could hear me, that when he does his lone wolf check that he might want to, do a few of the fixed encounters just to kind of get his levels back on par.
Well,
with what the enemies are.
I would say if Lone Wolf says, "Don't you take this Archipelago item away," that is what I'm picking.
Yeah, that is the one you want. No matter what option A is.
Yeah,
definitely.
So if you're Possum Morpheus, I would be yelling at him to start doing longer checks. Hey, go to Phoenix Cave, go to Leet River, do longer ones. Give me a break for a little bit. And unfortunately, Kalar does take a wipe there to SR Behemoth.
Oh no.
Almost had it done. And unfortunately, didn't save in a little bit, so they're now down to 3 checks, and they still have all 6 of their characters, though.
That is one of the interesting, fun things about multi-world is that you can take a peekable check, send it on over to your partner, and then just reset out, and then that item stays in their world, even though you have uncompleted the check with your reset. So nice little wrinkle to be aware of as you play throughout. Possum.
Oh, go ahead.
Possum one-shot Ultras with his Ultima. Not something you say every day, but.
And that's a Gao.
Gao for
a Gao for Possumorpheus, a character finally on the board. Meanwhile, a Flame Shield heading over to Christopher Workin there at the Lone Wolf. And I don't think Fitz found his offering yet, but did find some fish.
I don't think Possum has dried meat because he's checking the airship shop there. The good news for Possum is that there are 3 more characters he can stumble across without having to do the Velt check. And so he may need it for Espers, but he won't need to complete the Velt check for all of the characters required. He's leaving Gao out. Maybe he already has dried meat I'm not aware of.
So that's a runic for a natural jump on Mog. Oh man, if only we got him a little earlier. Did we see what Gao's commands are, or did we just not even bother?
He just passed them up like he didn't exist, so I don't know if Gao said something funny to us about Possum's mom or what's going on there, but Possum just had no interest whatsoever.
Just the behemoth suit there at the end of Daryl's tomb.
Did Possum buy that economizer earlier, or did he find it somewhere?
I think it was in Sealed Gate Cave. I mean, not Sealed... Yeah. It was either in Sealed Gate Cave or an Imperial camp. Hey, there's your dried meat.
There we go. There's the beef jerky. I was wondering that because he'll have infinite ultima on all of his characters with that paladin shield. So I was wondering if he was going back here to get some more economizer and just get more characters cooking with ultima. But nope, it was just the fried meat hunting. Seeing what else was in store.
All right, so Kalar has to figure out what his party is going to be. Oh, wow, he's all on level 3 again. That reset took him back before the grinding. And he got more progression. So it looks like he's going to have to do some grind fights again. Part of the problem with, Archipelago, it's a good and a bad thing, right? You keep the stuff even if you die, but you also keep the stuff even if you die.
Yeah, that's a shame there for Kalar, because you know what I'm always saying, that you have to save at every opportunity you get. So the fact that he wasn't listening to that is a bummer.
Only open your menu to save, and save after every check. my 2 favorite things to say.
Bad news for Possum from all those grind fights that he took. There will be some standing between him and his gal, but not that one. That is a 1-fight belt. That is a fantastic feeling.
Love to see it happen. So Kalar taking off the Moogle Charm again to try and get past this fight. I think this is undead. Is this the undead form of this one?
Yep, this is the World of Ruin that's prancing around Narsh, and Test Rider is the friendlier version of this fight. But they're both friendly fights.
Possumorpheus getting Shiva with Mute and Speed +1 on it, so Mute's really nice to have for our final fight there. A spell I always love to see. 1 free Fitz sends Phoenix over to Kalar, so that's not necessarily what Kalar wanted to see, right? He doesn't really need progression, he needs levels at this point.
We still haven't seen what's on that gal from Possum. I'm really curious at this point. I'd love to see a good gal build.
Gao is my favorite character in the randomizer. Slot throw. There we go.
That's an amazing Gao.
That's it.
Yep. He's level 3, but that doesn't matter. We'll let him sort out his problems over the next ensuing fights, and we'll get him online.
We'll let him cook. And speaking of cooking, 1 free Fitz going up against Spicy Chicken here. And Tirado for Christopher Workin at Kefka at Narsh, so yet another Esper onto his pile. And we're going through the Serpent Trench for Possumorpheus here.
I like this play from Possum because he needs to slow it down a little bit, and Workin needs to slow it down as well. It just gives Workin a chance to figure things out, get some levels, or just, kind of slow down a little bit, take a moment. And Possum as well. You can't really have your friend slow down if you're not slowing down as well, so you might as well come on in here and do a few longer fights. But not this Borders fight, because this Borders fight is scary.
Yeah. The good news is, if Gao somehow survives this, then this will be pretty decent. And we have the big blue win now button, so we're going to pull that out. I did see there was a Esper that Christopher Warkin has amongst the plethora of collection of shiny stones that does teach Ultima, so if he found a economizer somewhere, he could also do it. And hey, there is one Free Fitz is looking for.
Yeah, that's good news for Fitz because he's in the right spot. He's just on the top of the mountain, not the bottom of the mountain, and that's what he's going to be looking for. To go with his bazillion value knives.
Another Esper there for Fitz with Crusader. We'll see. Oh, Ice 3, Fire 2, and Strength +2 on one Esper. Then Ice 3 and Fire 2 and Strength +1 on another Esper. So, love to see it happen. Alright, so Kalar has gotten a few levels, and this Ultros fight is pretty relatively tame for what it is. So hopefully he gets through this and, you know, continues to snowball his levels a little bit higher here.
Looks like he is doing his Curse Shield as well, which Possum did earlier in the seed. So good on Kalar for that. I forget where Kalar went after this and where he needs to backtrack to, because he saw the Senior Behemoth. That's what took him out. But where was the Senior Behemoth?
I would love to tell you. I bet Knuckly Kong knows.
Knuckly knows everything.
Yeah.
That one I actually do not.
Okay, great. Good talk.
Very well said. We got some text on the screen, but nope, it's backtracked.
Yep. Sorry. I don't know what the hell's going on. This is what happens when you have both of us pushing buttons at the same time. It gets nuts.
That one was me. I have that key for my push to talk, and I had the text box selected.
Makes sense.
That's what we get for letting Knuckly talk. Never again.
Never again. Put yourself on mute. Get back in your cell. So,
good news, Possum found a Force Armor.
So the other good news is that Kalar doesn't have to go back to any of the checks that he did when he reset, right? Because the reward is already going to be granted. So I like him going to some of these other checks that are more force encounter checks to get his levels higher. Because the bosses are going to be more difficult at higher levels, but the enemies not necessarily the same case.
Mm-hmm. Well, most of them at least.
All right, so Fitz is heading up to Fanatic's Tower, and this is what we were talking about before, Glue, where it's like, hey, Fitz, do a longer check for me, please, so I can try and catch up.
Yeah, while Fitz is definitely ahead of his teammate, he's not quite on Morkin's level of, you know, being flirting with a 30-minute unlock, because Possum had sent most of that stuff Morkin's way, whereas Kalar stumbled a little bit. But Fitz is, you know, right on the tail end of working here. The progression items don't match it, but Fitz is having really no problems with his builds and his fights. And he has some very fast endgame builds already in tow that are coming along. Mm-hmm. Some of the builds that where you say, okay, these are the fastest way to clear Kefka's Tower, the final fight, and other bosses. And these are the builds you want to have. So he's just going to kind of close that gap with that piece of progression. It's just a matter of can his teammate do it as well.
Yeah, that's the third dragon for Fitz. The second Esper there for Kalar. That's Stray. Possum Morpheus helping themselves to some Raiden there at the Doomgaze spot.
Very nice.
And Fitz is climbing some towers. So this is another check here. We'll see what it is. It's a Falchion. Oh, yep. That's right. It's actually a Seraphim. That's odd. That was very weird.
That was weird indeed.
But it is their own Esper.
The gap closes between him and
I think
just a little bit.
Yeah, I think that is because that item, or rather that chest, is always a high tier item in the base game. So if it's an Esper, I think AP just said, I don't know what to do with this. So here.
Good news for Possum. Working just in him Shadow.
Yeah, so that
from his movable defense.
So going up to Floating Continent would be a good idea. Again, a longer check. Allow Christopher Walken to catch up here a little bit. But it seems like he's started to stabilize. He just needs to, start cranking out some more checks. So a pretty lucrative Norse trip there for Christopher Walken. And, by the way, he can go get the other thing that he let drop at Lone Wolf when he goes into the World of Ruin at some point. And it's hiding in the Hidden Knights up at the top of Fanatic's Tower. Kind of a yikes here.
Yeah, a little bit of a scary fight because Hayden can throw you a little bit of a curveball. Looks like Worken is going to Mount Colts, one of Saber's lesser known checks. So I think that's kind of Worken's play. Maybe not quite Floating Continent for Possum, but hey, Mount Colts is kind of a little bit longer. Let's slow it down a little bit and just see if we can get our feet wet.
All right.
Fitz makes it through his hiding fight, and Possum has found his world's Katana Soul.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a weapon in play that could actually take advantage of that. I know there was a lot of Valiant Knives in the top runners game between the ones in the shop, and I think there are at least 2 checks that rewarded the top player of Valiant Knife. Nice vanilla game knowledge there, using Sour Mouth to muddle Katana Soul to
Very
get
nice.
the Slayer Edge. Sometimes with Sour Mouth, you accidentally end up blinding Katana Soul as well, and you have to give him an eye drop in order for that to actually work. But hey, it hit, first time, every time. 60% of the time it works all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
One free Fitz grabbing or getting Lock from Kalar from Imperial Camp. And it looks like that's going to be progression for Christopher Walken here from Possum Morpheus. Or maybe not progression, but at least something for him.
Yeah, Worken really needed something to send his way.
Yeah, he hasn't had enough yet.
It won't tell us what Possum is sending until he finishes this fight, but this fight shouldn't give him any problems. Oh, Possum has a Valiant Knife to go with that offering.
Okay.
And it's Odin.
Big shiny sword there for Kalar from One Free Fitz at the bottom of Fanatic's Tower. So they could use that on their Terra, or maybe their Lock, or maybe their Celeste. Odin heading over to Possum Morpheus, as you mentioned, and a Flame Shield going back the other way.
I'd rather have the Flame Shield.
I mean, if I'm in Christopher Walken's shoes, I might be saying thank you for not progression. That's usually not how Worlds Collide works, but that's how this particular seed is going for them.
I will say Worken's playing a dangerous game here because he's just going straight into Mount Colts without saving, and when your levels are below your enemy's levels, you're flirting with Disaster Egg a little bit. In doing that, while he won't lose his progression, as we mentioned earlier, from the little intricacies of multi-world, you still don't want to lose those levels because levels are, how you do damage, how you prevent damage, how you beat the game. And a dangerous game Christopher Walken is playing here.
Alright, so Kalar grabbed the reward from the caboose. It is Tritalk. So one of the quote-unquote hacks of multi-world is you can actually reset and never come back to the Phantom Train, but still get the reward. However, Kalar needs some levels, and this is a good place to get some levels because you have to fight this fight here. You can fight other ghosts if you want to, if this is a decent fight. Unfortunately, it's not, but if that was a decent fight with some good XP, then you could fight those ghosts as many times as you want.
That's a merchant sprite for Possum, but while in a traditional Worlds Collide flag set, that would indicate that this is a item reward. And AP, it could still be either or. It could still be something for Worken. And Worken just sent Ifrit Possum's way, so that's Esper number 4 for Possum. Possum closing the gap there pretty fast. It was laughable early, but now it's really negligible.
Yeah, I think having Christopher Walken being able to get through checks faster, right, is definitely helpful. Now that he's not so underleveled compared with the rest of the scaling. Thunder Shield in a chest there for Kalar. Looking in this monster in a box, and oh baby, it's Gigantos.
This is a little dangerous though, because this Gigantos is gonna hurt unless it's target's lock, who has the image status. Couple clutch blocks, you like to see it. Some more clutch blocks there.
One free fits, meanwhile. I think this is Ebbets Rock, where Kefkat Narsh is.
Yes, it is. Oh no, that's what I was talking about. These swings are gonna hurt. Down goes Celeste.
Hey, there's an offering. So even if Possumorpheus does not head into World of Ruin Narsh in the classroom, they at least found their offering for their Valiant Ninth anyway. And 16k GP. Nom 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 nom. Juicy. Alright. Fitz just sent over an Esper from Ebbets Rock. So hopefully Kalar can learn some more spells off of it. And Sabin heading over to Possumorpheus' way from the Collapsing House. So both Questifer Workin and Possumorpheus now just looking for Espers to get their go mode. And that's one at Gal Manor for Possumorpheus.
Who would we say is in the lead here team-wise between our two teams? Because it's pretty neck-to-neck based on the piece of progression they have.
Yeah, it's very hard to tell. It's unlike in a more traditional, quote-unquote, game of Worlds Collide, where now that I have 6 characters, normally in a Worlds Collide seed, I just will go after Esper item only checks, right? So I kind of have a direction as to where to go. With AP Multi-World, you kind of don't, because these checks that are normally either Esper item could also give you a character for your partner, right? So it's one of those things where you never really know exactly where to go, and this is where I think we'll start to see runners will just try and get done as many checks as they can volume-wise without thinking about the attributes of a check, right? So now we're changing gears. What is the fastest check I could do? And we'll keep doing that.
I would say that while the progression is kind of neck and neck and it's tough to say, I think Workin and Possum are clearing their fights far faster than KR. They're kind of on par between Fitz, Workin, and Possum. It's kind of neck and neck. Or I'll actually say probably Fitz is probably head. But from a clearing the fight standpoint, KLR is a little bit behind, and that's part levels, part of his gear isn't as good as Possum's. He doesn't have the Curse Shield done. He's been playing with it for quite a bit of while now, so he's lacking Ultima. I would say that Workin and Possum are going to blow through the rest of the seed because they're still powerful, and that's going to give him the edge as far as getting the requirements faster.
Alright, that is an offering, though, for 1 free Fitz out of that monster in a box.
Very nice. That will go well with his mini Valiant Knives. I wonder what Workin's looking. I wonder what Workin's looking for here in Albrook at this point in the seed.
Yeah, not quite sure. But you know what I'm looking forward to, Glue? We have a bevy of events that are going on in the next couple of weeks, so let's talk about them a little bit here. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, on the RPG Limit Break channel, we're going to be doing a Final Fantasy VI showcase. I know that you're spearheading that. You want to tell us a little bit about it briefly?
Yeah, so those unfamiliar with RPG Limit Break, we have done a number of their events live, including just a month ago. We sent a contingent, including Gar. For some reason, we would send Gar out in person, but he behaved himself. He did a fantastic job. He was joined by 1 free Fitz on the top right of your screen. He was also joined by the legend PB&J Please. They did a live stream of Worlds Collide from Salt Lake City for the RPG Limit Break Summer Marathon. It was fantastic, and it went so well. They were like, you know what? Why don't you guys come back and do it again? So that's what we're doing. This is going to be the start of a beautiful partnership, maybe a bi-weekly thing. We'll see how tomorrow goes, but Worlds Collide and RPG Limit Break, it's a beautiful thing, and that's coming tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on RPG Limit Break.
All right, so getting back to the game here, we have a cat hood for one player and a cat hood for another player in the Narsh Weapon Shop. I've never seen that before. Postomorpheus,
first time for
by the
everything.
way, sending Locke over to Christopher Warkin, so that's a 7th character for our top runner here. In addition, next Sunday... No, not next Sunday. This Sunday, excuse me. Sunday! At 6 a.m. Eastern Time, we have the Final Fantasy I Randomizer overnight race at 6 a.m. And then we have another one at 6 p.m. that same day. So, in case you actually want to wake up early, you could watch the one race. And if you want to, stay in bed, then you could certainly watch the other one. And next Thursday, so 1 week from today, 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time, so during the day, SNES Superstars Marathon. That is going to be on the Twitch channel of Speed Gaming. So
The main Speed Gaming channel.
The main Speed Gaming channel. So we'll have a lot of fun there. And I think you want to talk about something with I think there's an early press edition of the Moblez Chronicle for June. So
no, that was just for you to conveniently read off of, but
okay.
I'll read off of it then.
Yep, go ahead.
So just to revamp, next Thursday at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time, the Worlds Collide will be part of the SNES Superstars Marathon. That is a team contingent including Saberwolf, Zelfer85, Shadow Sid, and myself. We will be kicking off at 11:15 Central, 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time on the main Speed Gaming channel. If you would like to view the rest of the SNES Superstars schedule, I will throw that link for you in the chat. If the bot lets me, we'll find out real fast here in just a second if it likes me or not.
You'll be fine.
If it doesn't, I will attempt to read it, and it will not go well, but I'll do my best.
Listen, reading's not my strong suit either. If we had
There it
audiobooks in
goes.
high school, man, I'd be so much better.
Beautiful. It wouldn't go through, so if you want to check out the rest of the SNES Superstars Marathon, there it is in the chat for you. A lot of great games, not just SNES games, kind of a couple other things that revolve around from that era.
Nice.
And if you want to view the rest of the FFR Rando Marathon schedule, they have this thing called Beyond Chaos. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, Schwantz, but apparently it's a Final Fantasy VI related thing. Doesn't look too appealing to me.
Is that a non-meat version of our game? Like, do we feed like Gao some tofu instead of some jerky?
It really wasn't my cup of tea, but it may be someone else's. Nevertheless, if you want to check out the rest of the schedule for the FFR Rando Marathon, that link is in the chat for you as well now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Glue, for getting involved in a plethora of these things that we've got. So always be good to grow the community. So back to the race here. We've got some more espers for the top runner here at Barren Falls, and Kalar is now taking on this Inferno fight. I think this will be a great test to see how his power is compared to where it should be in the seed, because this is a more difficult boss for him.
He picked the wrong rage, it looks like, with well, never mind. Sets are having some luck there, but these abilities still hurt a little bit. He is still trying to uncurse that cursed shield. That's an 11 battle cursed shield. So just to kind of, I touched on this a little bit earlier, Kalar is just not moving through fights as fastly as everybody else on screen. And I think that difference is starting to take shape as you see Workins and Possum's progression and checks kind of start to eclipse Kalar's and Fitz's as they keep going on.
So we've got another SR Behemoth here, this time in Cyan's Dream, which is not where we saw it from Kalar before.
No, and Kalar is in danger, Mr. Robinson. He is down to one character up. Fortunately, that character is Terror with the Ragnarok, though.
Yes!
Beautiful.
Way to get through that fight.
Very nice.
That's the Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope there.
Yes, indeed. And that was pivotal. And that's pivotal because even if only one character is getting that experience, that's okay because you don't need all four characters acting. Just that one Terra with the Ragnarok can carry you and get him back in this. He gives himself his his rating, not his own red cap. Workin found their own red cap just briefly after Kalar finished that fight.
Ooh, Thunder Rod and chest for Christopher Workin there. And unlucky force armor there for Possum Morpheus at the end of the collapsing house. So again, now our runners, they've got their power, and they're just looking for their requirements for the tower. So Workin, I believe, is the closest with 7 characters, 7 espers, just needing 2 more. When would you consider, Glue, just going into Kefka's tower and gambling that maybe your 2 espers are in there, or maybe your 2 espers might be given to you by your teammate by the time you're still in there? Or do you stick around and continue to do checks because your teammate is not yet in go mode?
I think it wouldn't be out of line if Workin gets his go mode and he goes in there and pokes around a little bit. I definitely wouldn't advise going in there to poke around, just because it takes you so much longer to have 3 teams drop, 3 teams move around to get where you need to go to see if that's an Esper or not. Enough Espers exist, there's 27 of them total, 54 across both seeds, that you can find them faster outside of Kefka's tower. But I wouldn't be opposed if Possum Dean getting down to needing 1 or 2 and Working going in there and maybe seeing, hey, can I find an Esper for Possum? And can I maybe get through my part of Kefka tower I have to do anyways?
Yeah, these are the interesting situations you usually don't get in normal Worlds Collide seeds, right? Because there's never progression in Kefka's tower. So it's always interesting to think about from an out of left field perspective like that. A snail, a tough guy, a plane, and a metal bird. Or a regular bird and a metal bird. Those are the enemies on the screen here. And
good.
We'll see exactly what we get. I believe...
Great news, Kalar uncursed his shield.
There we go.
The seed begins now for him.
There it is. I believe this was something for the top runner at the end of Bowser's Mansion. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Oh, maybe not. Maybe we didn't see this yet, because Possum Morpheus doesn't even have realms. So never mind. I'm getting my realms confused. Meanwhile, Fitz getting through Mount Cult, so that's check number 18 for him. Giving Odin over to the other side. And wow, Possum Morpheus just keeps on being the nice person that they are. Calmness protection for Questifer Workin.
You know, if you had told me at the start of this race that Possum was a nice guy, I wouldn't have believed you, because everything I know about Possum says is the opposite.
Wow, the shade.
I'm just kidding. Possum's fantastic. Looks like Possum's doing a Phoenix Cave play here, which I like, because 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, and there is a Terra for Questifer Workin here, so that is his 8th character, actually, on the Dome of Throne.
Is it skip for Workin at 9 characters?
It could be.
22 checks?
It very well could be. He's only up to 14 checks, so a 9th character for Questifer Workin would mean skip. And we've got 2 simultaneous Phoenix Cave plays, but from different teams and different seeds, if you will, on different teams.
Yeah, so Fitz will find for himself, or send for Kalar, different rewards than what Possum will find here. They could be the same, but they just wouldn't be the same. In logic, they would just be happen chance.
Alright, and then Questifer Workin's gonna get his choice of
That's
Cat
a
Hood
smart
for you
play.
or Cat Hood for me.
Oh no! He tried to do the right thing, and that's all that matters there.
Does Possum Morpheus not go through Phoenix Cave all that often?
It may be a little bit faster to do that, or maybe
Maybe,
that's just
I
the
don't
way
know.
you've always gone through. I've never
Muscle
timed
memory.
it. If it is, it's negligible. But
Yeah, it's funny. During the Moogle Cup, which the event just ended, which was a really nice event. Thank you, Glue, for help putting it on, of course. One of my mentees is like, I don't like Phoenix Cave, and I've never done it, so I don't know how to do it. So my piece of advice that I told them was, if you're going to do it, don't do it for the first time during a race on Restream. That's
Now, why would you suggest that? Is there any particular instance one runner may have tried to do something in Phoenix Cave they've never done before and it went horrible?
Oh yeah, there could have been that in the back of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Not naming any names or anything.
No, that name may happen to actually be Possum's mentor, so maybe that's why we were second guessing Possum's Phoenix Cave play here. But
all right, Questifer working at the top of Norsh, taking out the dragon there, and we'll get to the Tritok spot as well. So I like what Questifer Workin is doing with clustering checks like this together in order to maximize efficiency.
Great heads up play by Possum there by doing the save point glitch, which is allowed. If you stand on the save point glitch while you are in a multi-party situation, you can just switch around. And that save point status flips around, so it's just like that party is standing on the save point themselves. So you can sleeping bag, you can tent, or you can save, even though you were not on the switch with that party. All right. Red Dragon fight for Possum. Red Dragon fight for Fitz is over. Excuse me. Genji shield. Not what you want to see, but we'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? So that's another dragon and another check for Mr. Fitz. So that puts him at 4 dragons and 19 checks. He'll be at 20 at the end of this, so he's definitely going to get skipped from checks alone, and I believe Possum Morpheus probably will be as well, because this will be his 21st and 22nd check after this dragon and the end of the Phoenix Cave.
Yeah, Fitz is going to get his checks by default. Remains to be seen if Kalar will get requirements when he's in the neighborhood of the check skip, or just a skip in general. That's not. Oh.
Hello.
Well,
so,
indeed.
Possum Morpheus given Questifer Workin his Kefka Tower skip by sending a friendly neighborhood Yeti from the Phoenix Cave.
Do you think Workin will put that Yamaru in his party?
I hope he doesn't.
Duly noted.
Right, he'll be pretty low level with that Yeti. All right, so Questifer Workin is going to get another Esper there with Crusader and a 10th Esper, it looks like, with Odin.
Yep.
So back-to-back Espers.
The rich get richer. But good news is Possum just needs 2 more Espers while Workin has his unlock. They both have skip, so they are in prime position to finish out the seed. We just need to find Possum 2 more Espers somehow. This would probably be the time to jet on over to the auction house. Just to kind of get that out of the way, because while it can be a pain and the RNG can bite you in the behind sometimes, it is one of the faster checks you can do if it goes your right way.
Yeah. What could also be interesting is, this is a nice play here for my Possum Morpheus, is you're going to go check this Mobiliz, because it'll tell you exactly what item it's going to be here. Unless it says Ragnarok, and then then you're out of luck. Yeah, so if you're Questifer Workin with skip, do you just go in? Okay, Palador. So that is an Esper.
Palador. One more.
There. If you're Questifer Workin, do you go into the normal entrance for Kefka Tower, clear out, potentially the Toilet Atma and the Dragon spot?
Once Possum tells him that this is Palador, that I would finish out this check if I was working. Mm-hmm. Then I would head into the tower, and I wouldn't use my skip right there. I would probably do my right lane I would probably do the middle lane. Well, I could do the dragon and the the Toilet Atma spot. Then I would warp out, do a full right lane clear, just to get all that out of the way. Do the dragon, do the middle path while I'm there, and just see what it is or isn't.
Well, Questifer Workin is heading into Kefka's Tower, but he's going to the statues. Now, the statues don't count as checks because they don't drop rewards. Mm-hmm. So, Questifer Workin is just saying...
Maybe Possum just said go.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll get it from here. So that could backfire a little bit because there is nothing that guarantees Possum's Esper exist in his world.
Correct.
It would be incredibly awkward RNG and
it would be really
RNG.
bad luck, yeah.
I don't see their full.
Okay, so let's see what checks Possum has left. He's got Leet River, Zozo Tower, Phantom Train, and Floating Continent, and Kefkat Narsh, and Dragons, right? So he's still got
and
a
then
lot
the
of
auction house.
He's still and auction house. He still has a lot of checks, but a lot of those aren't very fast.
No, and again, I counted 12 based off what and we'll say 1 or 2 I'm missing. So let's say 14 he has access to.
Mm-hmm.
6 or 7 of those could be items. 4 or 5 of them being work and stuff. 2 or 3 of them being characters. It's entirely possible. Again, unlikely. Did that just say final Kefka unlock complete?
It did.
Or was that switch? Or excuse me,
Maybe we miscounted. Yeah, looking at his tracker, he's got 10 espers. So maybe we did miscount.
Oh, so that's why Working's in the tower. That would explain it.
Yeah, so comment in the chat from Zephyr Blaze, can Workin finish and then reset? Yes, he absolutely can. Oh, where did Christopher Workin go back to?
Oh no, he went back quite a bit. He doesn't lose his progression, so it doesn't matter. He just has to get through this fight again.
So he was at 17. Let's watch. This is how many checks he's on now.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
That's a lot of levels to get back. And that's not going to make that Doomgaze fight go any better.
Oh, was that in Kefka's Tower?
That's what took him out because...
Oh god, that's gross.
He's almost at the point now where I think he has to full right lane clear.
I don't think it counts as him using his skip if he resets.
No, but just to get through that Doomgaze, because that Doomgaze took him down pretty fast, and now that he's lost 7 or 8 levels, that fight's not going to go any better for him, even though he knows it's there.
Alright, so One Free Fits did give a Esper over to Kalar, so that's Kalar's 8th Esper, so he's got 1 more until go mode. Meanwhile, One Free Fits is still looking for a character. He has 2 more Espers, so he's got 22 checks and 8 Espers, according to his tracker, so I just made it 5 and 8. Workin now gonna go ahead and get these other 2 checks under his belt. Not even gonna bother going to get the character on the throne.
Ooh, that was interesting. I'd never seen that before. Because he already had that character, there was just a placeholder Esper there. And it took him to the character select screen.
Yeah, that's weird.
It was the same thing when he did it the first time. It showed the Esper in the throne and then opened the character screen to Terra.
Yeah, because technically you recruit the character right then and there. Question from the chat from Amelius. Does Multiworld not release items when the player completes? You can. That is a setting. That is an option. But for the purposes of this race, we prevent the release command upon goal. For that specific reason, right? If one player finishes, you don't want to give the second player everything, because then all of a sudden their enemies will be level ridiculous and you're going to be screwed, right? Although in our case, we do max out at 55, or not 55, 40, right?
Looks like Workin's taking the Red Dragon at the Opera House spot so he can get some levels back. He is in the low 30s, but all of his monsters and bosses are level 40 by virtue of his max scaling. So you might as well. All this does is help you. It doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah. So Possumorpheus got through, I believe that was Ifrit and Shiva for his first fight. I didn't quite see what the second fight was, but I think he's got one of his 3 lanes done now. And what happened with Fitz here? Did we lose Fitz?
Oh, he's back.
Okay.
Little latency from the new apartment.
Yeah, his stream
Okay,
just
he's
went
down. He's down. We'll perform CPR, get him back here as quickly as we can. But Kalar has recovered nicely from that wipe he had earlier that set him back quite a bit. He's at 7 character. He just needs one more Esper. He's actually past Fitz, where Fitz left off with his pieces of progression. So he's just kind of in that awkward spot where he needs to find. They just need to round out their numbers, and then get on their way to Kefka's Tower.
All right, so that is the 6th character for one free Fitz at the Mount Zozo Dragon. So now Fitz just needs one more Esper for Go mode, and same with Kalar. They both need one more Esper for Go, and it looks like the... Oh, that's an Edgar there at Mount Zozo for Kalar.
Looks like Fitz is going to throw some money at the problem.
Hey, there it is.
Ooh.
All right, Guardian is Possum Morpheus's next hurdle. And Possum also got Celeste again, or maybe for the first time, because that was the first time that Questifer Workin did that dragon.
Ooh, good news for Fitz. He gets the Esper on the first try. Pretty good feeling.
Yeah, so that means Fitz is eligible to head into Kefka's Tower. Now, will he do it or not? Because remember, his teammate is still one Esper from Go. Alright, so let's see. Questifer Workin decides not to go right at Doomgaze right away. Oh no, he is going to Doomgaze right away. I'm sorry, I thought Doomgaze is in the middle. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Possum in a bit of trouble here.
Oh no. Possum also has the slow status, so if he doesn't get this fight over in this turn, or heal, he won't be around much longer. Guardian has gone through a number of turns, so at a little later point in Guardian's script, he does start throwing things at you, and those things hurt, so Possum's in dangerous territory here.
Yeah, so he'll do his own battle program, then switch to Ultros, then switch back, then switch to Dataluma battle program, which is the throwing things, and then he'll switch back to his own, and then I believe he goes to Atma's battle program, so you definitely don't want that to happen.
Yep, and then out comes Rage. That is part of. Oh no! Oh
Yep,
no! Mission
yep.
abort! Mission abort!
Yep, that is the Dataluma battle program there. You hate to see it happen. F's in the chat.
Hopefully Possum saved, unlike Workin and Kalar, who's made some bad. Okay, he's saved, so he's good here. I tell people this all the time. You gotta save every chance you get in Worlds Collide.
Yeah, after every check, just make it a habit. I know it might cost you some time, but, 30 extra seconds over the course of the seed is way better than losing minutes,
Yep, if you're not playing it safe, you're not playing it right in my book.
Alright, so Kalar, unfortunately, getting a couple of dead checks from that Collapsing House to Zen trip. One free Fitz is on the Veld here, looking for something to give. Ooh, Cyan with the Runic on Doom! Huge plays. Let's go, Cyan.
Very, very nice. That's fantastic heads-up play there from Christopher Workin.
Alright, and it looks like we got
Beautiful.
a Shadow on the Veld here for Fitz. So that'll be nice for him, because that's an easy check that he can go right to in Gao Manor.
Oh no!
Oof.
Okay, phew. Clutch block there. I'm not sure where Workin is at HP-wise with this Doomgaze, but
Oh, another Guardian.
Oh no.
Yuck. Oh no, that's the same Guardian. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is round 2 for Possum and round 2 for Workin, but Workin's got to be in the second half of this fight. He's done a lot of throws.
Yeah, that damage is not all that high. That's probably a combination of not enough levels and not the right relics.
He does have some other things he can throw at him that would do more damage. It's just I don't think there's much of a point for saving him for another fight, because this is a pretty pivotal moment for Workin because he's so close to the finish line. Oh no! Just go up 1 with that aura and you'll do quite a bit more for Workin. Oh, never mind. Don't listen to me. Get it over with, Workin. Great job.
There we go. So throw will do damage based on the battle power of the weapon that you're throwing. Shurikens have a decent battle power. I think they're like in the 120s or so. But there's a lot of other items that have a lot higher battle power that you could throw for increased damage. Additionally, if you throw an elemental type of weapon, so let's say if you throw like a Gratis or something else that's Pearl Elemental, you actually do double damage because that Pearl Elemental applies to the weakness of the boss as well. So that's why sometimes you'll see people throwing those fire swords at the head on tier 1 or the blizzards at the tiger on tier 2, because you're actually going to do twice the amount of damage due to elemental weakness.
Oh no, but the Valiant Knife setup is going to benefit from that, and I think if not this turn, one more turn, possibly outside. There we go.
Nicely done.
Great heads up play to wear the Marble Shoes. Marble Shoes is one of the best relics in the game.
Sure, let's go with that. I think that actually might have been a pod bracelet, because I didn't see him gaining HP.
No, he had regain.
Oh, did he?
Regen.
That's an interesting strategy with a Valiant Knife, but hey, you know, if you just got to get through the fight, right?
Yep, back to his Ragnarok setup, back to his regularly scheduled program. Goes that lock. And the offering will go back to the other character. I think that's just one more statue fight for Possum, and then he will be on switches. Yep, indeed. And it's going to be a pretty easy one, because this is the Ultima character. This is the Ultima 1 MP cost character. So not a lot is going to stand in Terra's way here. Yep. Statue number 3 is Bombabo.
Yeah, so comment from the chat from Pyromance. Running Marvel Shoes so that this way you don't get slowed on the Ultros battle script part of the fight. That's exactly. That's a good heads up play. Alright, so Kalar unfortunately gives Cyan over to Fitz and a Valiant Knife for himself. Still looking for one more shiny stone. But at this rate, he's at 17 checks, so he might actually find himself getting skip. We would hope that he doesn't get to 22 checks, but hopefully Fitz gives him a character so he can get to skip and get in the tower.
Workin just has 2 more statue fights. 2 more fights total. He'll be on switches, and Possum will be there very briefly. This Bombaba is not long for this world.
Alright, Questa for Workin here, taking on Rexol. Yeah, that Ultima is just going to chew through Funbaba.
I don't think this fight is scary for Workin, but it's just going to take a while.
Yeah.
Rexol has such high magic defense, and he doesn't have anything that can pierce the magic defense comfortably, so he can do a lot of 400, 500, 600, 700 damage attacks, which there's nothing you can do about. Sometimes Rexol goes down in 1 turn, sometimes it takes 17 turns.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think his best spell is Fire 3, which is something that Rexol eats for breakfast.
Now, you can't Ultima him as he's choosing to do here this turn. It's just you have to go through a little animation time with Rexol's little buddies, but I think that's the correct play here, because this Ultima is going to do a lot more than 500 damage or 1,000 bio.
Yeah, the only difference is waiting for that annoying animation, you know, life and death animation to get itself back up there.
Possum done with all of his statue fights. Little party organization here, and then he will be on to the final Kefka fight. On the right side of your screen, Fitz and Kalar still searching for one more Esper for Kalar. We know it's out there because Possum and Christopher Workin are living in the same world.
Yeah,
and they found their requirements, so we know it's out there. They just got to find it in the right spot.
So thinking about this final fight here, I believe only one of our runners has a form of Calmness Protection and Esper Summon, with Christopher Workin getting Golem. right?
Mm-hmm.
And there it is, actually, Ifrit over to Kalar from the Dome of Siege. So Kalar can just reset out of this and just go to the tower, basically. Or just finish up this fight because they need the levels anyway, and just do it. Yeah, so does Morpheus have anything to deal with calmness? I believe he has an Esper that is mute, and I think we have access to instant death, given the vast amount of Espers that we have. It's just a question of how is he going to deal with tier 3 and calmness here.
I think even without the correct ingredients for the final Kefka fight, that he's so powerful, it's not ideal, but he's powerful enough to where he will just power through most of the fight. I think the more interesting question is that working, because remember the team's time is cumulative, where Fitz is just absolutely rocking it. Kalar's levels are kind of like, Workins in that he stumbled a little bit. So he's a little bit behind scaling, and then not as strong as his other counterpart. So if Workin stumbles on his final Kefka fight and gets a reset or two, that opens up the door for Fitz and Kalar to make up the time together. But Kalar and Fitz definitely don't, neither of them can't stumble because they got to close the gap.
Yeah, so Kalar using Runic on Realm to get over the Doom from Doomgaze. And Fitz is actually doing something interesting. So Kalar is busy and stuck finishing up this check. Fitz is probably saying, hey, let me go do a couple of fast checks to see if I can get you that 9th character for Skip. So I really like this play here from Fitz to not just go straight into the tower and look for a last-ditch 9th character for Kalar to get Skip. Now, if you're Kalar, do you keep doing checks to try and get Skip? Or do you just go into the tower and maybe you get lucky at the Toilet Atma or one of the dragon spots?
I think they just go on in because in Esper, maybe there's 6 possible characters that are out there for Kalar across a really, really large number of checks that are available between the two. If I had to guess off the top of my head, that there are probably 60 checks, north of 60 checks left that those 6 characters could be in. So you could almost surmise that basically every check you complete is a 10% chance at a character. And then that would basically mean you have to do 10 checks to get those numbers to a point where it's a likely outcome. I just go on through the tower. I'm not opposed to taking a stab at 1 or 2 because you're already, halfway through one. But to go on and continue doing it is not feasible in my mind.
And of course now, Kalar just got 2 Espers, so he's 1 Esper and
Now
1 character away
Esper.
from go mode. So now I think that changes the equation a little bit here, right?
Just a hair. But remember, that could be in Kefka's tower for both of them or either of them as well.
Right.
So it looks like Fitz is going to let Kalar handle it. And
oh no, Fitz is going into Fitz going in the entrance here, so I believe he's gonna go do 2 more checks to see if we can get a skip for Kalar, and then with more than one person trying to get the skip, it increases the odds that we are going to get the skip. All right, tier 2 here for Morpheus. We do have Mute for magic, and we have X-Zone and Doom for tools. So this tier will not be a bit of an issue as Questifer Workin starts his final fight. Now, I don't know about you, Glue, but I don't really like to have a berserked character during final Kefka because there are certain targets that you need to prioritize at certain times. And that's exactly what a Stray Cat build does. So is there anything that you do extra when you know you have a Stray Cat build going into final Kefka?
I disagree with that statement a little bit because I think it's perfectly fine to take Yamario into a final fight, but different conversation. I do say that, Stray Cat build, berserking your character is okay, but you kind of need to have a better grasp of what's going on with the various battle scripts and the counters that can come at you. You need to have a solid grasp of what can happen, and then 2, you almost need another character to babysit that count for that character that you've lost, just to be on standby in case something happens that you don't want to happen. But I will say that if that Stray Cat is only doing 1900 with his proc, that's not really worth losing control of your character for. I maybe we'll have to see what his Saban has equipped there. He is in the back row, so maybe if he was in the front row and that's doing 4K, that's more feasible. That could be it as well.
Alright, so Fitz's stream unfortunately went down, but we could still see what he's doing because of the AP chat, and unfortunately, Atma was not the answer. That's Ragnarok, the sword for him, as Kalar is up at the Tentacles fight here, hoping to get that final Esper for Skip. And Realm is down on the ground, and Saban is still, you know, continuing to punch things.
Yeah, Saban's queued up, so let's see what he does.
Alright, really
Oh
nice.
no, that's how.
Yeah, really nice heads-up play there from Morpheus, using Vanish on his 2 front row characters so that they don't get bopped during this invocation of 10 hits. Really good game knowledge there to know what the heck's coming out when.
Ooh, that's very fortunate from working that he didn't proc a death counter or a counterattack on the completion of his tier 1, because he had 2 characters that would have been donezo.
And the sadness continues. Gold Dragon giving a Ice Shield, Kalar McBrand sending a Mog over to the wrong party. So, unfortunately, the skip is not in the cards just yet.
Well, we know Fitz is in the tower because he's taking down his Gold Dragon. So still a few more spots in there it can be. Looks like Kalar's taking a moment to kind of figure out where he wants to go next.
Yeah, I mean, taking a look at the checks that he has Esper Mountain, which is fast, Doma Siege, which is fast. He's got the South Figaro Basement, which is fast, and the Figaro Throne, which is fast. So those are the things that I expect him to be looking for, and it looks like he's going to the throne here.
Yeah, we don't know what's on the throne because Possum's never showed us.
Yeah, he did not have Edgar.
So this could be it.
Alright, so here's tier 3 for Morpheus. This is where I'm interested to see what he's going to do here.
Oh, he found their Yamaro, so that's character number 9.
Juicy.
There we go.
Yeti, heir to the throne. And that is Skip for Kalar McBrand. At the 21st check, by the way. So if that wasn't for him, he could have just done one more of those really quick ones that I mentioned to go get Skip. Meanwhile, Christopher Warkin is chilling. Saban dead and 3 of his characters frozen. Do you take a reset here, Glue, or do you just wait it out?
Looks like that sensor is ready to act when he becomes unfrozen, and I think his Strego and Realm, by virtue of not having their menus up, are also queued up.
Oh, hey, thanks, Magic.
Oh, that's convenient.
Unfortunately, this Fire 3 is going to the wrong target.
Yeah, going to the wrong target twice, but, you know.
Oh, and now this will help, too.
Yeah. It could be worse, though. Tiger Face can start firing off some Doom Tusk, which would really hurt.
Alright, here comes Calmness. Ooh, the Vanish on Terra for
Nice.
Morpheus. How lucky can you be for that to happen? The one character that you have Vanish set on out of 4, and that's the one target that gets chosen. Very nicely done.
Yeah, I think that would happen about once out of every 4 times.
A 25% chance, if you will. Alright, so we got Fitz back, finally. But he also just got Doomgazed. So there's that.
Workin's got his feet back under him, so he's working his way through his tier 2 yet again with a full complement of party members. I take that back. That Doom Tusk I mentioned earlier just came out, and it hurt. It connected. No more Strego for now.
Yeah, one of the important reasons why we like taking out Tiger first. He does a bunch of nasty stuff like that. The freezing, the dooming, tusking.
Saban is raged up again, so we won't see Saban for us to fight. Good news. Strago, stop.
Yeah,
It's
Strago
not-
is just he's in a world of trouble there.
Well, when you get older, the health issues just kind of pile on, so that's what's happening here.
Yeah, of course.
I have a question. Well, I would have had a question. Does the stop persist when you lose your zombie status? And the answer to that question, by based on what Strago is glowing, is yes.
Yeah, you still get stopped. Unfortunately. And
Well, now that he's dead, the stop status does go away. That's good news for Strago, but bad news for general party health.
yeah, you hate to see that happen. But that is the end of Kefka for Possum Orpheus. 125.17 is his time. So get your GGs in chat for Possum Orpheus.
Yes, indeed, and we'll see if Possum wants to join us for an interview or not. Well, should we wait till Working's finished, or should we drag him on in?
Let's let him wait. Let's sweat him out here. Let him coach Christopher Working through his fight here. Of course, as soon as I pick Fitz, his stream starts going in and out again. Just my luck. Alright, I think we're good. There we go. Alright, Tier 2 finally done for Christopher Working.
Beautiful. All party members intact too, which is hugely important.
Yeah, Strago was looking a bit dicey there. We didn't know if the Reaper was going to call him home to that great farm upstate or not. Yeah, because the bad thing about the Kefka fight is that in the vanilla game, normally you're okay with a substitute off the bench, but in Worlds Collide, we've been using the same party the entire time. We don't want no scrubs, right? Scrub can't
Exactly.
get no love from my Kefka party.
This is where the cat scratch and the various procking will get very interesting for Working. Because Tier 3, the order of operations in Tier 3 is less important because you'll probably kill him in the correct order just by sheer dumb RNG.
Alright, so here
But
comes
the
goal.
order, yeah, but the order in which you take down the rest of the second half of this fight is equally important as doing that first part, and that's where not having control is going to get really awkward here.
Alright, looks like we got Genji Glove Ragnarok there for Kalar on Terra. There's the Golem, so we don't have to worry about calmness for Christopher Working. We just got to get through this fight and hope that we don't get a Medio counter. Here it is.
Oh no, that's not good news for Sabin.
Well,
That's great news for Sabin if he just misses it.
There we go.
And that's-
Okay, Sabin is doing enough damage, thankfully, so that's not a problem. And we're up to Tier 4 with the full party intact.
Very fortunate RNG there for Christopher Working. Let's see if he gets equally lucky and equally fortunate on his Tier 4 and close this out for his team.
Yeah, so we got to do more than 30,000 damage on the first turn to not get a Fallen 1. Realm has X magic, so we're going to cast at least 2 spells with her. And Sabin has an offering, so that's 4 fight commands. So we'll see if Christopher Working can do enough damage here.
He does have a decent stash of shields, so if he wanted to bust them out here, that would be good, but I think that Sabin's wielding a Valiant Knife,
That makes sense.
because that would explain his the difference in damage that he's doing.
Yeah. Well, you could actually see here that Stray Cat doesn't actually do anything to Valiant Knife damage, because he did the same amount of damage the last turn without doing Cat Scratch. So, just as an FYI, if you're using Cat Scratch, don't use Valiant Knife. It does the same damage both with and without the Cat Scratch triggering. Use another weapon.
Use a Sniper. Sniper is very underrated with Stray Cat.
Any high battle power item.
Oh
boy.
no! Oh no!
Body.
Oh no! Mission alert! That Saban is not going to get healed up in time to survive this goner.
I mean, unless Strago uses heal force on Saban. There you go.
No, we didn't sit in the menu. It's debatable what happens here because let's see. Oh, the game is very fortunate, very giving for Wolfen.
All right, so Goner's going to go off here.
Yeah.
Then Saban. So Christopher Workin's playing with fire because he's just queued up a bunch of attacks here.
Yeah.
And we hope that he's going to do enough damage to not get the Ultima counter. That would be big awful. Yeah, so here you see not cat scratch, normal attack, about the same amount of damage, no counter there.
Oh no!
The shuriken.
Oh no! 1 and 3.
Oh my goodness!
Who cares?
Why you do that to us, Quaywar? Why you do that to us?
Working.
Whoo! I feel like Denzel Washington holding his chest right now.
Oh yeah, counterattack odds be damned. Working powers through. Very impressive display. Very fortunate display as well. GG's the Possum, GG's the Working.
Team Left Twix, by the default, has won this race since both of them finished ahead of the other two. In the case where maybe if Christopher Workin did take a wipe there, we might be talking about a different story now that 1 Free Fits is starting. So, I'm going to drag them in for interviews here. So, Team Left Twix, Christopher Workin, Possum Morpheus. GG's, congratulations on taking home the W here in this 2v2 multi-world race.
GG's!
Thank you, GG's.
Yeah, so let's start with you, Christopher Workin. It seems that you must have done something nice in a previous life because you were getting all the goods from Possum Morpheus early on in this seed, which made some of your fights quite difficult. So talk me through that a little bit here.
I was getting the goods, but I started with a couple of early grinds, and I didn't have any difficulty at all. It wasn't difficult at all. It was good. It was all good.
So did you purposefully take a couple of extra fights because you knew you were getting sent everything?
I took a couple of early grinds because I knew he had a lot of early free checks, and I didn't. And I wanted to get ahead of scaling. So that was kind of the thought process.
Yeah, and Possum Morpheus, same sort of question. Was there a strategy that you guys discussed going into this where, there would be times where you'd put your foot on the gas and other times where you'd let up a little bit? And how did that sort of affect how you played?
There was a plan up until I got a economizer at like the 5-minute mark, and then the question was, Mr. Workin, should I or should I not do the meme 11 random encounters, get the Ultima, flex the Ragnarok, and then blow the ever-living heck out of the seed? And we decided on yes, that was the correct course of action. So everything we had planned and talked about was gone in 5 minutes. So it was cool to adapt like that, because I was on the fence of whether to do it with, get the Ultima and do the dragons, and Quay was like, go, do it. You do that now. And I'm like, all right, I got your blessing. I'm doing it. We're doing the memes. And it wasn't a meme. It sounded like it was a dream. I talked a tiny bit with my chat afterwards, and they informed me that it looked like it gave me quite an advantage over my direct opponent having Ultima access that early. So it was kind of neat to hear that the memes paid off potentially. Be interested to watch it back to find out, but I think Workin was onto something there, saying yes, get that Ultima.
Ultima wins games, period. It's not a meme, it's truth.
Yeah, it definitely made it a little boring, but, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And if Ultima Economizer's on the table, then you certainly do it. So towards the end of the seed there, we were trying to think if one of you was going to go into the tower when you were maybe 1 or 2 espers from go mode, and it looks like you guys decided not to do that. Was there sort of a game plan once one of you got into enough requirements to finish Kefka's Tower?
We had talked
No.
about that very early on as well, actually, that once one of us got into go mode, we were going to continue doing checks until the other one got into go mode, and then proceed from there. That we weren't going to, leave it up to chance or leave someone potentially hanging. That it was going to be just full commit to getting both in go mode and then go.
Yep,
So
that was
the
it
tower
exactly.
was not a consideration until the very end.
Yeah, because I think Pasta Morpheus, you got your go mode second, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I had skip first, but go mode second.
Yeah, yeah. Which is always fun.
Yeah.
Glue, you have questions for our left Twix team?
Yeah, I do have one question for one individual. First, let me preface this that maybe me and this individual don't always see eye to eye. We may have some differences, but I'm willing to put those differences aside for my journalistic integrity, and I'm going to ask the hard-hitting question to this individual. Christopher Workin, why didn't you put Yamaru in your party?
Because number one, I had Throw Setzer, I had Straight Cat Rage Sabin, I had X Magic Realm, I had X Magic Murder Child, and I had Magitech Strago. If I did not, and they were all pre-leveled. Otherwise, I would have put Yamaru in the party.
That's
Otherwise,
I'm not
they're-
buying it.
that's
I'm not buying
that's
it.
the wrong answer. The right answer would be, why am I putting Umaru in my party instead of anything else?
Christopher, let me take some heat off you real quick here. Glue, I hope you enjoyed me dancing around the dog in Thamasa and not petting it.
Yes. I was like, is he? You also did not do dog skip either when you went into Mola's.
I didn't.
No.
No?
So extra dog, no pets.
I'm just doing everything I can to get on Glue's list more times than anyone else.
Mhm.
Listen. You gotta do the games for the memes or for the lulz. You do the
But-
Ultima for the lulz. You do the non-dog pet for the lulz as well.
But speaking of the Yeti,
Uh-huh.
we're gonna give the Yeti some love. We're gonna do the Yamaru Coliseum for the overnight relay race. Is it a relay race or the overnight block for the
Yes.
Final Fantasy 1 randomizer
Yeah. So,
marathon?
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about that, Mr. Workin?
Put me on the spot. So the Final Fantasy 1.
You brought it up.
Yes, I brought it up, and I'm trying to get off of Glue's list because I'm already on too many lists as it is, and they're all bad. So the Final Fantasy 1 randomizer community is having a Final Fantasy randomizer, and they're doing an overnight block. I think Fitz is putting it on. Don't quote me on that.
That is correct, sir.
I did something right. There's a Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. There's a Chrono Trigger Jets of Time, capped off by Worlds Collide, and there's I don't know who's all participating. Forgive me. I know I'm in it, and we're gonna do the Yamaru Coliseum flag set for the overnight block, and that's at 6 a.m. Eastern on
Twitch.tv/Final Fantasy Randomizer. So the FFR official Twitch channel.
on June 16th. So this
Yes,
coming
indeed.
Saturday. This coming
That
Saturday
is-
morning, 6 a.m. Eastern.
Yes,
so
indeed.
so ridiculously early in the morning.
Yeah. So just to touch on that a little bit more, it will be Christopher Workin competing in part of the last leg, which is the Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. He'll be battling out with Knuckly Kong and then some third guy we don't need to talk about.
Yeah, some dude I don't even know.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
don't.
even know his name.
Sir not appearing in this race.
If he wakes up in time, he'll be there.
Yep. Me, I will still be awake because I will have gotten off work a couple of hours beforehand.
Yeah. So
Because West Coast is best coast.
sure, let's go with that.
South Coast is best. Oh wait.
Knuckly, you have any questions for our runners tonight?
Yeah,
None like
I
that are
actually wanted to get
major.
into the shoe pod thing.
I
didn't,
do like the
but I didn't
multi-world.
have enough
How
time to sign
do
up for it.
Possum and Mr. Workin feel their seeds could have gone differently?
I mean, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I got really lucky finding a stray cat in
Oh,
a
yeah.
random encounter
Where you could sit there and
with already having a rager. Had I not found stray cat with a ranger, my seed would have gone a lot different.
Can I let you in on a little secret here?
Yes.
So you were using Stray Cat with Valiant Knife and Offering, right?
Yeah.
So Cat Scratch and regular
Yeah, that
Fight
would be
do
the-
the same damage. You don't get any benefit from using Stray Cat with Valiant Knife. I don't know if you noticed that, like every time your
I was
character did
starting
Stray
to notice
Cat, it was
that.
the same damage. But yeah.
Yeah,
So I think
like the Mirage.
the
Vests
Stray
and
Cat
all.
was cool if you didn't find the Valiant Knives, but since you did, then you had yourself a build anyway.
Yeah, I was starting to notice that, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I've got to build anyway. But it was Sabin, and he can't use much for weapons anyway.
Yep. So as far as from a multi-world perspective goes, did this sort of change how you approach the seed? I guess
I'm on
is
tier
more
2
of
right now. I
what
used to open,
Knuckley
get rid
was
of tools.
asking. Possumorpheus will let you go first.
And I'd used
Yeah,
Rain
with
to
it
get
being
rid
a
of,
multi-world, I
Hallmark.
think a lot of it was like, when do I send things? When do I keep things? Do I look to keep overloading Questifer with stuff? Because, like, right from the jump, I was basically overloaded on power with the Ragnarok and the Ultima. I mean, maybe not from the jump, but it was, 15, 20 minutes in, I want to say. And then it was like, how fast can I push this without making a mess of Questifer Seed? And I think I asked once early on, and it was like, do I need to slow down? Should I not go get this Archipelago item from the back of Terra's check? Because I know I've sent you a bunch of stuff already. He's like, no, go, you're fine. And so it was kind of like just getting that blessing, since I was overloaded with power, to just go and just run wild. And I think I was at like 16 or 17 checks by like the 45-minute mark or something.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
And so it was like just, Questifer gave me the blessing of just go. And I don't know if I would have been that aggressive, maybe with a different partner, but
Right.
it was really cool to have that voice in the ear being like, well, yes, just go, blow everything up, we'll figure it out later. Better to ask for forgiveness than permission if something goes wrong kind of deal. So
Yeah.
it was just really cool to have that approach to it, that two-pronged, two-person, here's two brains are better than one kind of approach. Because I don't know that I would have made those same kind of checks in a single seed. I don't know that with a Ragnarok, I would have bothered unlocking Ultima if it was, right away, if it was just a single run. I think I probably just get a couple encounters, get the Ragnarok going, and unlock Ultima as I go, instead of focusing on, well, this makes sure that I don't let myself or my partner down by having this Ultima. So there was a lot actually to it, I think, from the 1v1 style or 2v2 style, or like async style. Kind of a lot more to it from my perspective anyway. But again, was blessed with a seed that was like, let me vomit power at you. It's like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, so on the other side of that, we had, Questifer working. You did, your boss fights took definitely a lot longer than Possumorpheus's did, and that was just the nature of the level scaling. And also you had that unfortunate mishap on Tier 2 where you had a dead player and 3 frozen ones, right? So
Yep.
things
Yeah,
could have
and-
went a little better in that respect as well.
Yeah, that was just pure bad luck, and nothing I could do about that, but just sit and fume. But it's I credit the Moogle Cup participating in that, teaching me how to kind of recover from bad situations, prevent them as much as possible to an extent, but mostly how to recover, and kind of make do with what I have. So, and that's kind of what gave me the confidence and the ability to tell Morpheus to just say, vomit your power all over everything and just go, and I'll be fine.
All right. Well,
And
sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and honestly, if not for the Doomgaze issue and Tier 2 being a jerk, even with all that, Questifer would have finished ahead of me. He got very unlucky at the end of the seed not to. So, like, I think we meshed up very, very well that we both, would have been like a 125 right around there had, Doomgaze not Doomgazed. So, I think we balanced it, like, almost perfectly. And credit to Questifer for being able to keep up with all that.
Yeah, getting sent back. I think you went back like 4 or 5 checks there. So you had to regrind the levels a little bit and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and it was just look, I'll take the easiest dragon I can get and just go.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for participating in the 2v2. We did plug some of the events that you guys will be a part of during the race. We do have, RPG Limit Break Showcase tomorrow, and then on Sunday, we've got the Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer Marathon. So I will be participating in the Sunday evening race. I think you guys will be in the Sunday morning race.
Mm-hmm. It's Saturday morning.
Yeah, that. Sunday.
Sunday morning.
It is Sunday morning. It is Sunday morning.
Yes.
You're right.
I'm in both of them.
Yep. So that should be a lot of fun. So again, thank you guys so much. And yeah, any other final thoughts before we let you go?
We should do this more often.
Definitely.
There's a shield.
Thank you to everyone behind the scenes, of course. Schwantz, not only restreaming, but also kind of being the brains behind the operation, getting everything set up, helping little old me, who's just a humble possum who doesn't know how to work a piece of technology to save his life. Set up.
No, that was totally my fault, by the way.
Thank you, Knuckley, for tracking. Thanks, Glue, for the comms. I do again look forward to watching us back, and thank you, Questifer, for being a heck of a teammate, man. Always a pleasure. And GG's to Fitz and Kyler McBrand. Thank you, everyone.
GG's.
All right, catch you guys later. Bye bye now.
Later.
All right, so we've got some unfortunate happenings going over here for Kalar. Got some of his teammates hit down, but they're back up again. And here comes Goner. So we'll see how he decides to recover from this. So Kalar must not have gotten Golem or the Calmness protection. Got to be very careful here not to provoke a counterattack. So I like taking it slow. Mm-hmm. I think he can eat an Ultima, but he can't eat a couple Havoc Wings. That would not be the way to go.
If Ultima comes out here, Locke survives. Now that doesn't matter because Locke can't survive an Ultima.
Locke can't survive.
Because an Ultima is going to do about 2,500. But doesn't matter. But we're in that phase where Goner's coming out shortly after.
Yeah, so here comes a Revenger and a potential Havoc Wing. Mm-hmm. Oof.
That's scary because a Ragnarok is not guaranteed to hit. Ragnarok will miss a decent chunk of the time, so we gotta be careful there. Do we go for it, or are we gonna heal up?
You gotta go for it. You could tank a Goner with Terra. Locke, maybe not.
Yeah, but we're gonna get 2 turns off of both. I think this is it, as long as Locke is able to do respectable damage.
Yeah, I was thinking about using life too, but I was like,
yep,
Phoenix
that's
down
it.
will bring him up, and with that VK.
There we go.
Oh, there it is.
That is a GG Team Right Twix coming in 148 and change. 58 is the final time for Kalar McBrand. Give them a GG's in the chat. Go give them a follow as well,
go back into
along with the rest of the runners. So give them a follow, and Glue, you want to drag them in for an interview?
I'd be rude to say no.
All right.
All right, there we go. Fitz knows what's up. Fitz has heard that ding a time or two in his life. GG's Fitz, GG Kalar. Congratulations on the finish. Fitz, let's start hitting you with the hard-hitting questions. What was y'all's what were you and Kalar's game plan there to get started, to get rolling out, tackle the challenges of the multi-world?
Yeah, we talked a little bit early, and I was pretty much like, send me all the progression you want. Like, don't worry about letting me get behind, because I tend to raise progression early anyway. And we did have a wipe where we lost some progress, which is interesting in AP because you keep all your progression, and so.
But you just lose all your levels.
Right, and so there was a little bit, that was definitely a little bit of a setback, but I thought Kalar recovered well. There were a couple times that it was like, give me a little bit of time to get a grind so I can catch up, and so I just made sure I was like listening and checking in, and I think in hindsight, I probably should have stepped on the gas harder with my throw and egg that I had early. I maybe did a little bit too much looting and shopping in the beginning for what kind of the power I ended up with, and then towards the end it was kind of like I asked if it was like, should I go in the tower? Do you want me to Kalar was very close to hitting skip on both characters and espers. Or was like, do you want me to go around and look for skip? And he was like, yeah, I'd like that skip. And also he didn't have a calmness option yet, so it was like, well, maybe I'll pull something. Which we did find the Phantom. I think I seen Golem too, but
there was a Golem hanging around. I wasn't sure. I know that left Twix got it. I wasn't sure if right Twix had gotten it.
Yeah, he sent it to me. I used Phantom on tier 3 instead of Golem like I should have.
Yeah, so
that was just kind of like the game plan. It was like, talk to each other, stay in communication, and it was just like a fun time. And I did a lot. I had fun doing a ton of dragons and checks too. It was nice. I feel the final time is what it is, but I felt the checks per minute were pretty high, so I'm pretty proud of our team's performance, and just had a blast.
Fritz is too nice to me. He had to carry me.
Well, I mean, the thing was, Kalar, if you don't take that death that sets you back a bunch, right? You're right in there as well. It's hard to recover in a normal scene. It's even worse when you keep all the progression and your enemies are going to be just as hard, but you've just lost all those levels, right? So I know you were working on uncursing that shield for a while as well, which doesn't help, right? Because that basically takes one of your characters and makes them very squishy for a while.
What's funny is I didn't actually start uncursing it till after the wipe.
Oh. Fair enough.
But
that's a pretty bold strategy, Cotton.
I had the wipe, and then I made several mistakes. Like I mentioned in the race room, I was gone for a year, so I'm a little rusty. But I'm not upset with how I played, and I think me and Fitz worked very well together. But there was definitely room for improvement.
Yeah, so how does, doing a multi-world or a co-op Infoshare differ from what you would do as a normal sort of race here?
Because there's not the same, I need a character I know kind of where's more likely to get those.
Mm-hmm.
Routing is a little bit, I think, more about, speed of checks, but also, density. Where sometimes a Fanatic's tower, maybe I wouldn't want to go there necessarily right away. I'm neutral about that one, but in this scenario, it was I'm going there as soon as I have magic to cast.
Right.
Because it's 3 potential progression there, and I also noticed at the top when I opened the gem box chest, the pop-up said I got a flat chin, which I did. I got that.
Oh,
but then
that's
also
odd.
I also got an Esper, because it was an AP item too. So that was just a weird thing where I was like, huh, because I was like, oh, I got a sword, cool, and then Kalan was like, "Oh no, you got an Esper too," and I was like, "Oh, like, nice." And the other thing I was having fun with, because Setzer had the egg from level 3, he had a speed +2 Esper. That fool was fat. And then I hasted him just because I wanted to see what that looked like, because he was outspeeding a hasted character just by himself, and I was just like, yeah, speed is fun. But so it was mostly like I was doing more dragons maybe than I would normally do, because those could give rewards. I think my Opera House visit, that's normally a place that I tend to avoid, like the plague, but because I was looking for an Esper and it told me glowing stones were available, I was like, oh, I can actually, that's like,
My own Esper.
this is a good play, like, to go there. And it's just also just nice to have someone in like the race car with you, so to speak, where like, if one of us does hit a stumble or start to struggle a little bit, like, you're not alone, and you can have someone there with you to be like, this happens, it'll be fine, we can recover, and
Right.
It was also like, for today, I was like, this is for fun, like, we talked a little bit, because it was like, we both ended up with Sabin early, and it was like, is it like against the rules to go like get the ghost reward and then reset, because your partner would still get the thing?
Yeah,
if it was for
it's
them.
not really. It's against the spirit, but definitely not against the rules.
And that's kind of where, because then Kalar was like, well, I'm about to go in there, so we should probably like make a decision. And I was like, well, let's, this is for
Yeah.
fun. Let's do
I
it.
think in
this...
Kalar's case, it was also for, hey, I need levels pretty badly.
Actually, at that point, it wasn't for the levels. It was, if I agreed with Fitz when we said it, that let's take the high road on it. If we go in there, we stick through it and fight to the end of it.
Look at you guys, number 2 in the race, but number 1 on the high road. Gotta love it. Glue, you got any other questions for our runners here?
I do have a question for Fitz. Fitzy, do you got any events coming up that you would like to possibly talk about and or throw out there?
Oh yeah, I think I heard some of the plugs. So there's the overnight relay for FF1R Summer Marathon. That's something that someone from the Jets community organized the first time that we did it, and I loved it so much that I was like, I want to make sure this happens like more often. So I'll be doing commentary for the first leg, which is Career Day, as well as the second leg, Jets of Time, and then I will be going from that to go run Jets of Time and SNES Superstar. So I have a very busy late Saturday into early Sunday with a lot of rando action. And then I am doing commentary on the Sunday evening FF1R. Do I have anything else? There's a couple more I'm thinking about submitting for, but I don't know yet. So I think that's all the recent action that I have going on. Very busy rando Sunday.
Very busy indeed. And Kaylar, same question. Do you have anything coming up inside the community or possibly outside the community that you would like to give a shout out to?
I don't have anything other than trying to get the rust knocked off, and I sit there and participate in the Living Seed and Jex's Chaos every week. So
there you go.
That's one way to knock the rust off.
I miss one thing. Jex used to sit there and have his Mad Labs, where he'd sit there and design the craziest stuff. I don't know what he did. Where he got rid of it.
After the incident with somebody who's no longer with us, we had to stop that.
Oh,
it was a legal issue.
Okay.
Not everybody came out alive, so. Yeah, we lost the lab rat.
Yeah. It was a year ago, so.
We let them do them every once in a while, but you have to sign a medical waiver disclosing or absolving the community of any legal
Trust me,
liability.
I was
So-
probably one of his first casualties because I ran a race with him as one of his labs, and it was the first time the White Dragon gave you the objective of auto silence. And it was at the end of the burning house, and it was the first one I did. And I spent 15 minutes trying to find a white cap after that. So I could just play.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, we do have some of his creations in the seed of the week as if they rotate in and out. But yeah, those are always fun to have them be more crafted instead of just having the seed bot say, hey, give me some chaos, which is always fun.
Yeah.
We do have sort of a draft race that I host every week where you kind of get to pick your own poison a little bit. It's sort of like you get presented with different options to alter the standard flag set, and people take turns picking different cards that do it. So that can be kind of fun, and so it's less chaos and more directed, but you also, you pick what you want to play, but you also have to play that seed too, right? So don't go make it too nuts.
I was probably going to run that seed, but I couldn't get to draft it because I had family events going on at the time frame.
Yeah. Yep. That's what happens.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I think that when we get to play combinations of flags that we don't get to see that often. I know we had one that was like really vanilla, but not like fully, and that was interesting. I feel like I've been doing long enough that I used to be the nice drafter, where I would try to like nudge it easier, and I think these days I'm like the heel drafter, where it was like, oh, transcendent characters, I gotta pick a hard flag to like balance that out.
All right, you guys got any other final thoughts before we get the heck out of here?
It was
Thanks
a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
thanks for
Fritz.
putting this together and organizing it and restreaming it and holding our hands for helping us fix our like trackers and get connected before the race. Definitely a lot of fun, and for sure, whenever we have these, I would encourage anyone like get in on it because it's a great time.
Yes, it was, and definitely looking forward to doing it again if we get a chance.
Sounds good. Thank you also for volunteering to be on Restream. Can't have the races without the runners, so really appreciate you two stepping up to the plate to have some fun with us. That was a lot of fun. So, cool. Good luck, and we'll catch you on the next one, guys.
All right.
Want to also thank Knuckly Kong for doing the tracking tonight. Knuckly, you got any other final thoughts before we wrap up here?
Nothing major. Ultra Fleet 6 came to an end. So far, I don't think there has been any word on off-season events, but I'm excited about that.
Funny you should
Drinks-
say that.
Drinks Blue is still accepting participants for the Moogle Cup.
Mm-hmm. But it's funny Knuckly says that. Us over at the Mobiles Chronicle have gotten a couple special care packages delivered, and
Did you
They
test
may-
them for powder?
no, probably should have, but they're
or
really
Kefka
weird.
poison? I hear
Yeah,
he does some stuff to Doma.
No, but I you're worrying me now. But we're working on a scoop for the Mobiles Chronicle this week, and we're trying to piece it all together, figure out what it all means, and we're having no luck. So we could really use some people's help in trying to figure it out. So that will be released sometime this weekend. Once maybe we'll get another package or two to see what's going on there. But is that related? I don't know. Time will tell, but could be, could not be. We don't know.
Yep.
Sounds like a mystery.
Yeah,
It's
a
definitely
giant
mystery.
question. A giant question mark.
Yep.
So, all right, Glue, you got any last words on Archipelago or anything else we want to chat about before we get out of here?
I think it's time to go. Just thank you again to Possum. Thank you to Workin. Thank you to KLR. Thank you to Fitz. They really put on a great race. It was a real Grand Prix. With that said, though, if I had some, I'm going to ask a question for you, Swans, before I head out.
Okay.
If I was interested in getting starting in multi-world myself, how do I go about that?
Great question. So in our Discord, so if you go to ff6worldscollide.com, there is a link to our Discord server. In Discord, there is a whole Archipelago section where there is lists for setup help and general chat and other things that we do. This game is not currently officially released in part of the Archipelago stream of things. It's currently still in beta, although that'll probably change once I finally get around to finishing updating the Archipelago code to the current version of Worlds Collide. But anyway, we also run weekly and monthly asyncs where you could play not just Worlds Collide, but also other Archipelago games. I, for instance, will sometimes play Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, or the SMZ3 Combo Randomizer, or Mega Man X Randomizer, along with Worlds Collide, obviously, as part of one just big group. So those are really fun to be a part of if you'd like to be a part of those in the Archipelago section of the Worlds Collide Discord. There's links on how to get this set up, what to download, how to do the things that you're supposed to be doing, and I think that's about it, Glue. So thank you so much for doing commentary with me. And thank you, viewers at home, for hanging out with us, and hopefully we'll see you on the next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye now.